It was a gray and rainy afternoon in the small town of Maplewood. The streets were almost empty, and the raindrops hit the pavement with a soft rhythm. Officer Daniel was walking his usual patrol route, his boots splashing slightly in the shallow puddles. He liked the quiet of rainy days because it gave him time to think and observe as he turned a corner near a narrow alley. He heard a soft, high-pitched whimpering. At first he thought it was a cat stuck somewhere, but the sound grew louder and more desperate. He paused and listened carefully. The whines were not from a cat. It was a small dog, crying and trembling. Daniel's heart stirred with concern. He followed the sound into the alley and saw a small German Shepherd puppy sitting on the wet ground. The puppy's fur was soaked and muddy, and its big brown eyes were wide with fear. Beside the puppy was a tattered brown bag, old and worn, with some holes at the corners. The puppy kept pressing its tiny body against the bag, growling softly at anyone who came near. Daniel slowly knelt down, trying not to scare the little animal. "Hey there, little one. It's okay. I won't hurt you," he said in a calm voice. The puppy froze and stared at him, ears flat and tail low. Its small body shook from fear and the cold rain. Daniel noticed that the puppy was not just scared of him. It seemed worried about the bag. No matter how close Daniel came, the puppy would not leave the bag. It whined and nuzzled it protectively. Something inside the bag must be very important to the puppy. He looked around the alley. It was quiet except for the rain. There were no signs of any humans nearby. Daniel thought for a moment. The puppy could not survive in the rain for long, and he could not leave it alone. He decided to approach slowly and see what was inside the bag. "Come on, little one. I just want to make sure you are safe," Daniel said gently. He reached for the bag, but the puppy barked sharply and lunged forward to protect it. Daniel stopped immediately. He realized the puppy was brave, even though it was so small. Its loyalty to whatever was inside the bag was clear. Daniel thought of a plan. He reached into his patrol car and took out a clean towel. He spoke softly to the puppy while holding the towel out. "I just want to wrap you so you are warm. It will not hurt you or the bag." The puppy hesitated but did not run away. Daniel wrapped the towel slowly around its wet body. The puppy stiffened at first but soon settled as the warmth reached its fur. With the puppy calm in his arms, Daniel carefully lifted the bag a little. Inside, he saw a bundle wrapped in another piece of cloth. He could not see clearly what it was. It looked small and fragile. His heart started beating faster. He could sense that the puppy had a reason to protect it so fiercely. "Don't worry," Daniel whispered. "I just want to see. I will make sure it is okay." The puppy growled softly, but did not struggle. It seemed to understand that Daniel was trying to help. Daniel gently untied a corner of the cloth. Inside, he saw a tiny little head with closed eyes. It was another puppy, shivering and wet, smaller than the German Shepherd in his arms. Daniel gasped quietly. The German Shepherd puppy, who had been named Max by the shelter volunteers before, barked softly and nudged the smaller puppy. It was clear that Max was trying to protect its sibling. Daniel felt a lump in his throat. He could not believe that someone had abandoned two tiny puppies in the rain. They were too small to survive alone in this weather. He carefully wrapped the smaller puppy in a dry towel from his car. Max pressed its body closer, growling softly whenever Daniel moved too quickly. Daniel smiled at Max. "I see why you are so protective. You are very brave. I promise I will help both of you." Daniel called animal control immediately and explained the situation. "There are two puppies here. One is very small, and the other is very protective. They cannot be separated," he said. While he waited, he kept both puppies close and talked to them gently, trying to calm them down. Max sniffed the smaller puppy and licked it softly. Its brown eyes never left Daniel, as if asking him to promise that they would be safe. Daniel felt a deep sense of responsibility. He realized that sometimes animals could teach humans about love and loyalty in ways words could not. Minutes later, the sound of an approaching vehicle broke the quiet of the alley. A white van with the animal control logo stopped nearby. Two rescuers stepped out, carrying blankets and supplies. Daniel explained the situation again. "The bigger puppy is very protective. They must stay together," he said firmly. The rescuers nodded. One of them carefully took the smaller puppy, wrapping it securely in a warm blanket. Max growled softly but did not resist. It was clear that Max trusted Daniel and the rescuers enough to let them help. Daniel watched as both puppies were placed safely into the van. Max pressed its nose against the smaller puppy, making sure it was comfortable. Daniel felt a warmth in his heart. He realized that this was more than a rescue. This was a story of bravery, love, and loyalty. The rain continued to fall. But for Max and the smaller puppy, named Leo, it no longer mattered. They were safe, warm, and together. Daniel gave Max one last gentle pat and whispered, "You are a true hero, little one." As the van drove away, Daniel felt a mix of sadness and happiness. Sadness because of the cruel way someone had abandoned the puppies, and happiness because he knew they had a chance for a better life. He promised himself that he would check in on them at the shelter to see how they were doing. The alley was quiet once again, but the story of Max and Leo stayed with Daniel. It reminded him that courage could come in the smallest forms, and loyalty could be stronger than fear. Max's bravery had saved both of them. and Daniel knew that the bond between the two puppies would last forever. From that rainy day onward, Daniel would often tell the story of Max and Leo to his friends at the station. It was a story that made everyone smile and reminded them why helping others, even animals, was so important. The van carrying Max and Leo moved slowly through the rainy streets of Maplewood. Inside, the air was warm and dry, a sharp contrast to the wet and cold alley they had left behind. Max stayed close to Leo, nuzzling him gently with his nose. Leo shivered a little, but the warmth and safety of the van began to calm him. Officer Daniel watched them through the window as the van drove away. He felt a mix of relief and curiosity. He knew that these two puppies had already faced a difficult beginning, but now they had a chance at a safe and happy life. He promised himself he would visit the shelter soon to check on them. At the shelter, the staff were ready. The room was bright, filled with soft blankets, toys, and the gentle sounds of other animals. Max stepped out of the van first, cautious but brave. He sniffed the floor, the walls, and every corner. He was still protective of Leo, keeping him close with his paw and nudges. A young shelter worker named Maria knelt down to greet them. She had warm eyes and a gentle voice. "Hello there, little ones," she said. "You are safe now. We will take care of you." Max barked softly, a warning to make sure Maria did not rush. Maria smiled and crouched even lower, letting Max see that she meant no harm. Leo, wrapped in a warm blanket, looked up at Max and tried to follow his lead. Max guided him to a soft corner of the room where blankets were piled. Leo snuggled into the pile, feeling warmth for the first time in a long while. Max stayed close, pressing his small body against his sibling to make sure he felt safe. The shelter staff were amazed at Max's loyalty. "This is remarkable," Maria said to her colleague, Tom. "Most puppies would be nervous and scared in a new place. But look at Max. He is protective and brave. He is making sure Leo feels safe." Tom nodded. "Yes, it is rare to see such a strong bond between siblings, especially at this age. We must make sure they stay together." For the next few hours, the staff worked carefully to feed both puppies, clean them, and give them some rest. Max watched everything closely. He sniffed the food, checked the blankets, and even guided Leo to the right spot to eat. It was clear that Max understood what was happening and wanted to make sure his sibling was comfortable. As the afternoon passed, more puppies and dogs in the shelter came to see the new arrivals. A small beagle puppy wagged its tail and tried to approach Max. Max barked softly, not in anger but as a warning to keep distance. Leo whimpered a little at the attention, but Max nudged him gently and reassured him. By evening, Max and Leo were tired. They curled up together in a cozy corner with soft blankets. Max pressed his body against Leo's, and Leo's small tail began to wag slowly as he relaxed. The rain outside had stopped, but the memory of the cold alley was still fresh in their minds. Maria sat nearby, watching them. "They will be okay," she whispered. "They have each other, and that is what matters the most." The next morning, the shelter was busy. Volunteers came in to feed the other animals, clean cages, and play with the dogs. Max and Leo had already eaten and explored a little, but Max stayed close to his sibling, leading him carefully through the room. They discovered a pile of soft toys in one corner. Max sniffed each one, then nudged a small stuffed bear toward Leo. Leo wagged his tiny tail and licked the bear. Max barked softly, happy to see his sibling enjoy something new. Over the next few days, Max and Leo began to adjust to life at the shelter. They were still shy around strangers, but they were brave together. Max would explore first, and Leo would follow his lead. They learned to trust the staff. But Max never let anyone separate him from Leo. Every time someone tried to pick up Leo, Max would bark and stand between them. The staff admired Max's courage and dedication. One day, a group of children visited the shelter for a tour. They were excited to see the puppies. Max and Leo watched them carefully from their corner. One little girl named Anna approached slowly, holding out her hand. Max sniffed her hand cautiously, then barked once. Anna stepped back, smiling. She understood that Max was just protective. Leo peeked out from behind Max, curious but hesitant. Maria knelt beside the children and explained. "Max is very protective of Leo. They are siblings, and they have to stay together. But they are friendly once they know you are not a threat." The children watched in awe as Max allowed Leo to approach Anna's hand. Leo sniffed it, then wagged his tail. Max barked softly, almost like a reminder to be careful, but he did not stop Leo. Anna laughed and gently petted Leo. Max sat nearby, watching every movement, making sure his sibling was safe. Days passed and Max and Leo began to show more of their personalities. Max was brave and careful, always alert to danger or strangers. Leo was curious and playful, but he relied on Max's guidance. Together they explored every corner of the shelter, played with toys, and learned to trust humans again. One afternoon, Officer Daniel arrived at the shelter to check on them. When he saw Max and Leo, he smiled widely. Max barked softly, recognizing the familiar voice. Leo wagged his tail excitedly. Daniel knelt down and Max approached him cautiously, sniffing his hands. Daniel laughed. "You are still protective. I see. Good job, Max. Daniel spent time with the puppies, playing gently with them and watching how Max guided Leo. He realized that these two were more than just pets. They had survived a difficult start, and their bond had made them stronger. Daniel promised himself that he would help find a safe and loving home where they could stay together forever. As the sun set, the shelter grew quiet. Max and Leo curled up together in their corner, tired but happy. The room was warm and filled with soft light. Outside, the town was calm, and the night had begun. Max rested his head on Leo's back, and Leo snuggled close, feeling safe and loved for the first time. The bond between Max and Leo was unbreakable. Max had risked his comfort and safety to protect his sibling, and Leo trusted him completely. Officer Daniel left the shelter that evening with a heart full of hope. He knew that these two puppies would continue to grow stronger, braver, and happier together. At the end of the day, the shelter staff reflected on what they had seen. Max and Leo were not just ordinary puppies. They were a lesson in loyalty, courage, and love. Their story reminded everyone that even the smallest creatures could show the greatest bravery. Max had saved Leo in his own way, and now they had a chance to live a full and happy life together. Max and Leo had been living at the Maplewood Animal Shelter for a week. During this time, they had grown stronger and more confident. Max was always alert, his ears twitching at every sound, and Leo followed him faithfully, learning from his older sibling. The two puppies had become a favorite among the staff and volunteers. Maria, one of the shelter workers, had grown especially fond of them. She often spent extra time playing with Max and Leo, giving them treats and brushing their fur until it shined. Max, while still protective, had begun to trust her more. He allowed her to pet him, as long as Leo was nearby. Leo loved the attention and wagged his tail happily every time Maria approached. One sunny afternoon, as the puppies played with a soft ball in their corner, the shelter door opened. A man in a dark coat stepped inside, carrying a small bag. He looked nervous, glancing around the room as if searching for something. Max immediately noticed him. His ears perked up, and his body stiffened. He barked loudly, alerting Maria. Maria hurried over. "Hello, sir. Can I help you?" she asked politely. The man hesitated. I heard you have a German Shepherd puppy and a smaller pup," he said. His voice was quiet and uneasy. Max growled softly, keeping a watchful eye on the stranger. Leo hid behind Max, peeking cautiously at the man. Maria looked at the man carefully. "Yes, we do. They were brought in last week after being found abandoned. They are safe here. Why are you asking?" The man swallowed hard. I am looking for a dog. A German Shepherd. Lost my puppy a few days ago. I think it might be here." His eyes darted nervously toward Max and Leo. Maria hesitated. Something about the man seemed off, but she wanted to be fair. "If you believe one of these puppies is yours, we can check for identification and papers. But please do not touch the puppies until we know for sure." Max barked again, louder this time, and stepped protectively in front of Leo. Leo's small body trembled, but he followed Max's lead. The puppies clearly sensed danger. Maria put a hand on Max's back to calm him. The man looked surprised by Max's reaction. "Oh, he's very protective," he said quietly. "I just want to see if it's my puppy." Maria led him slowly to the puppy's corner. Max remained between the man and Leo, growling softly but not aggressively. Leo peeked out, his small eyes wide with curiosity and fear. "Let's check for identification," Maria said. She carefully examined Max and Leo. Neither of the puppies had a microchip or collar. Maria frowned. "I'm sorry, sir, but neither of these puppies has identification. Are you sure it's one of them?" The man looked disappointed and frustrated. Maybe I was wrong," he muttered. He took a step back, avoiding eye contact with Max. "I just want to make sure they are safe." Max barked again, a warning that he would not allow the man near Leo. Leo wagged his tail slightly, encouraged by Max's protection. The puppy's bond was stronger than ever. Maria realized that Max's instincts were correct. Something about this man made her uneasy. "I'm going to need you to leave for now," Maria said firmly. "The puppies are safe here, and we must protect them." The man hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I understand," he said, turning toward the door. But before he left, he glanced back at the puppies, his eyes filled with a mix of regret and longing. Max growled softly again, but this time it was a low, steady warning. Leo whimpered quietly, staying close to Max. After the man left, Maria knelt down beside the puppies. "It's okay," she whispered. "You two are safe. Nothing will hurt you here." Max nudged Leo gently as if saying the same. Leo relaxed slightly, curling up next to Max. That evening, Maria spoke with Tom, another staff member. "There is something strange about that man," she said. "He seemed nervous, almost frightened of the puppies." Max definitely sensed it. Tom nodded. "Yes, Max is very alert. He has a strong sense of who is safe and who is not. We should keep an eye out and make sure the puppies remain protected." The next few days passed quietly, but Max and Leo were more alert than usual. Max would stand near the entrance whenever someone new approached, while Leo stayed close to him. The staff noticed that the puppies had grown stronger and more confident in their bond. Max had become a true guardian, and Leo had become playful and curious. but always under Max's watchful eye. One afternoon, Maria brought out a new toy for the puppies, a soft rope with knots at both ends. Max sniffed it cautiously and then nudged Leo to play. Leo grabbed one end with his teeth, and Max took the other. They tugged gently, laughing in their own way. Their playful energy filled the room, and Maria smiled. Even in their difficult past, these puppies had found joy in each other as the sun began to set. A sudden noise outside caught Max's attention. He lifted his head, ears pointed, and growled softly. Leo whimpered and pressed against Max. Maria rushed over to see what had caused the noise. Through the window, she saw a shadowy figure moving near the shelter entrance. Max barked loudly, a warning to the stranger. Leo barked with him, smaller but determined. The figure paused, then ran away quickly. Maria sighed with relief. Max had protected the puppies again. Leo wagged his tail, proud of his brother's bravery. That night, Max and Leo curled up together in their corner. Max rested his head on Leo's back, and Leo's small body relaxed completely. Maria placed a warm blanket over them and whispered, "You two are safe now. Nothing will harm you while you are here." As Max and Leo slept, Officer Daniel returned to the shelter. He'd been following up on the previous visit and wanted to see how the puppies were doing. When he entered the room, Max's ears perked up. He recognized Daniel immediately and barked softly, wagging his tail. Leo wagged his tail too, excited to see someone familiar. Daniel smiled, kneeling down to pet them. "You have grown a lot since I last saw you," he said. Max nudged Leo closer to Daniel, as if introducing him to their human friend. Daniel laughed quietly. "You two are quite the team." He spent some time with the puppies, tossing small toys and letting them play. Max guided Leo carefully, making sure he did not get too rough or too tired. Daniel could see that their bond was unbreakable. He realized that Max and Leo had been through a lot together, and now they were thriving because of each other. As Daniel left the shelter that night, he looked back at Max and Leo one last time. The puppies were curled up together, tired but happy. He knew that the shelter staff were dedicated to protecting them, and he felt hopeful that they would soon find a permanent home where they could stay together. Max and Leo had faced danger, abandonment, and uncertainty, but they had survived. Their bond had grown stronger with each passing day. Max had proven himself to be brave and protective, while Leo had learned to trust and follow his brother. Together they were ready for whatever challenges might come next, confident in their love and loyalty for each other. The Maplewood Animal Shelter had become a safe haven for Max and Leo. The two puppies had settled into a routine of playing, exploring, and napping together. Max continued to act as Leo's protector, while Leo's playful spirit brought joy to everyone around them. The shelter staff were amazed at how the siblings had bonded so closely after such a difficult beginning. One sunny morning, Maria opened the shelter doors to let some fresh air in. Max and Leo were in their usual corner, playing with a soft rope toy. Max tugged gently on one end while Leo held the other, their small paws dancing on the blankets. The sound of their happy barks echoed through the room. Suddenly, a loud crash came from outside. Max's ears shot up instantly, and he froze. Leo's tail stopped wagging, and he pressed against Max instinctively. Maria ran to the window and saw a figure moving quickly near the shelter's fence. The person wore a hood and carried a large bag, walking hurriedly as if they were trying to hide something. Max barked fiercely, his growls low and warning. Leo barked too, though his voice was smaller, adding a sense of urgency. Maria quickly called Tom, who was working in another part of the shelter. "Tom, there's someone outside. Max is barking like crazy," she said. Tom rushed over, checking through the window. The stranger had vanished for the moment, slipping behind the trees near the parking lot. Maria and Tom exchanged worried glances. "This is strange," Tom said. "That puppies are usually safe here. Max is reacting because he senses danger." Maria nodded. "We need to make sure they stay inside until we know what's happening. Max is right to be cautious." The staff quickly closed all doors and secured the shelter. Max paced near the entrance, keeping a close eye on Leo, who followed closely. The smaller puppy's eyes were wide with fear, but he trusted Max completely. Max nudged him gently, reassuring him that he would protect him no matter what. Hours passed without any sign of the stranger. The staff tried to distract the puppies with treats and toys, but Max remained alert. He would pause every few minutes, ears pointed toward the doors and windows, growling softly when he heard unfamiliar sounds. Leo stayed close, learning from Max's instincts. That afternoon, Officer Daniel arrived at the shelter for his usual visit. When he saw the tension in the room, he knelt down beside Max and Leo. "What's going on here?" he asked, his voice calm but concerned. Maria explained the situation. "There was someone outside earlier. Max sensed danger. We don't know who it was or what they wanted. Max and Leo have been on edge ever since." Daniel studied Max carefully. The puppy's fur bristled slightly, and his growls were steady. Leo stayed close, following Max's lead. Daniel nodded. "Max is doing exactly what he should. He's protecting Leo and the shelter. We need to find out who that person was." That evening, the shelter staff decided to review the security cameras. As they watched the footage, a chilling scene appeared on the screen. The hooded figure had been moving quietly around the shelter, peering in through the windows, and then dropping a small package near the entrance before disappearing. Max had barked at the moment the person left the package. Maria and Tom exchanged worried glances. "What is in that package?" Maria asked. Daniel carefully approached and picked up the package. It was heavy for its size and it felt strange. He opened it slowly and saw that inside was an old broken toy and a note. He read the note aloud. "Leave the puppies alone, or you will regret it." Max barked loudly, growling at the package. Leo whimpered and pressed against Max. Maria and Tom were shocked. Whoever had left the package knew about the puppies and wanted to scare them. Max's instincts had been correct all along. Daniel quickly took the package outside for evidence and reassured the staff. "This is serious, but you have Max and Leo here. Max will protect Leo, and we will make sure the shelter is safe. We need to keep an eye on everything and increase security." The staff worked late into the night, securing the doors, windows, and fences. Max and Leo stayed close together, alert and ready. Max would occasionally stand near the door, his ears twitching at every small sound. Leo mimicked him, learning to sense danger and follow Max's lead. The next morning, Maria brought out a few new toys to distract the puppies. Max sniffed them carefully, then nudged Leo toward a soft ball. Leo wagged his tail and ran after the ball, but he kept glancing at Max for reassurance. Max barked softly and joined the game, making sure Leo stayed safe. Officer Daniel returned later that day with a plan. "We need to find out who is behind this. Max is brave and protective, but we cannot rely only on him. We need cameras, lights, and a watchful eye on the surrounding. Max and Leo deserve to feel safe." The staff nodded and began setting up extra security. Max and Leo watched everything carefully, understanding the importance of their new routine. Max had become not only a protector but a teacher, showing Leo how to be alert and aware. Over the next few days, the shelter staff noticed subtle changes in the puppy's behavior. Max remained calm but alert, and Leo became more confident in following him. Max had taught him to be cautious but not fearful. Together they became a team ready to face any threat. One evening, as the sun set and the shelter grew quiet, a soft whimper came from the puppy's corner. Max was standing over Leo, ears pointed, eyes scanning the room. Leo shivered slightly, but Max nudged him and stayed close. It was clear that they had formed an unbreakable bond, strengthened by the challenges they had already faced. Daniel visited again that night and checked the security system. The cameras showed no sign of the hooded figure returning, but Daniel knew it was only a matter of time before someone tried again. He patted Max on the head and whispered, "You are a brave little hero. Max, you are keeping Leo safe, and that is all that matters." Max barked softly in response, and Leo wagged his tail. The puppies understood that together they were strong and could face anything. They had survived abandonment, learned to trust humans, and now faced a mysterious threat. Yet, their courage and loyalty had grown, and nothing could break their bond. That night, Max and Leo curled up together, Max resting his head protectively over Leo. The room was warm, and the sound of rain softly tapped against the windows. Outside, the town of Maplewood slept, unaware of the tiny heroes inside the shelter. Maria and the staff watched them with admiration. "They are amazing," Maria said softly. "Even in danger, they stay together. They are teaching us what loyalty and courage really mean." Leo rested against Max, feeling safe and loved. Max closed his eyes but remained alert, ears twitching at every sound. Together, they faced the unknown with bravery and trust. They were ready for whatever challenge might come next, knowing that as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything. The days at the Maplewood Animal Shelter passed quickly for Max and Leo. The two puppies had grown stronger, braver, and more confident with each passing day. Max continued to act as the vigilant protector, while Leo, inspired by his brother, began exploring the shelter with more curiosity and playfulness. Despite the challenges they had faced, the two siblings had formed a bond that could never be broken. One bright morning, the shelter received exciting news. A kind woman named Clara had come to adopt a dog. She had visited the shelter many times before, showing interest in puppies, but this time, she had a special request. "I want 2 dogs that can stay together," she explained to Maria. "They must be siblings or friends. I cannot separate them." Maria thought immediately of Max and Leo. Their loyalty to each other was obvious, and she knew they would thrive in a home where they could stay together. "I have just the pair for you," Maria said, leading Clara to the corner where the puppies were playing. Max and Leo stopped mid-play when they noticed Clara. Max tilted his head, ears pointed, studying her carefully. Leo wagged his tail and took a small step forward, sniffing the air. Clara knelt down gently and spoke in a soft, calm voice. "Hello, little ones. My name is Clara. I am here to give you a loving home." Max sniffed her hand cautiously. Leo, encouraged by Max's presence, approached her more confidently. Max nudged Leo gently, approving of his siblings' curiosity. Clara laughed softly, impressed by the bond between the two puppies. "You two are very special," she said. "I can see that you care for each other." Maria explained their story to Clara. These two were abandoned together and found in the rain. Max has always protected Leo, and they must stay together. They have grown stronger because of each other. Clara listened carefully, her eyes softening with emotion. I want them both, she said. They will never have to face danger alone again. The staff began preparing the puppies for their new home. Max and Leo were cleaned, fed, and given fresh blankets for the journey. Max stayed close to Leo, nudging him gently as if to reassure him that everything would be fine. Leo wagged his tail and followed Max's lead. As Clara drove them to her home, Max and Leo sat together in the back seat. Max pressed his body against Leo, keeping him calm. Leo leaned on Max, trusting completely. The car ride was smooth, but both puppies were alert, ears twitching at every passing sound. Clara spoke softly to them. You are safe now. No one will ever hurt you again. When they arrived at Clara's house, the puppies' eyes widened with wonder. The backyard was large and filled with grass, and the house was warm and inviting. Max sniffed every corner, making sure the area was safe. Leo ran around excitedly, discovering new scents and smells. But he kept checking back with Max. Clara knelt on the grass and held out her hand. Come on, little ones. This is your new home, Max barked softly, but then nudged Leo toward her. Leo wagged his tail and stepped forward, taking cautious but confident steps. Max followed, keeping a watchful eye on his sibling. Over the next few days, Max and Leo explored their new home together. Max took the lead, showing Leo where to play, where to rest, and where the safest spots were. Leo, trusting Max completely, followed his guidance. The puppies played in the backyard, ran through the grass, and chased balls together. Max barked happily, and Leo's small tail wagged endlessly. Clara watched them with a smile. She could see the strong bond between the two siblings. They are incredible, she said to herself. Max is so protective, and Leo is so trusting. They are perfect together. One afternoon, Clara decided to introduce the puppies to her neighbors. Max remained cautious, standing between Leo and any strangers, while Leo wagged his tail and sniffed everyone curiously. The neighbors laughed and admired the puppy's energy. Max barked softly as a greeting, showing that he was polite but protective. Leo jumped happily, making everyone smile. Days turned into weeks, and Max and Leo grew more confident in their new home. Max continued to act as Leo's guardian, but he also began to enjoy the freedom of their new environment. Leo learned to play without fear, always under Max's watchful eye. Together, they discovered new games, chased butterflies, and rolled in the grass. One evening, Clara sat on the porch with the puppies. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Max and Leo curled up beside her, their small bodies pressed close together. Clara stroked their fur gently. You are safe now. You will never have to be afraid again, she said softly. Max rested his head on Leo's back, and Leo pressed against Max, feeling comfort and security. The bond between them had grown even stronger. Max had guided Leo through danger, uncertainty, and fear, and Leo had learned to trust and rely on Max completely. Together they had survived, thrived, and finally found a loving home. That night, as the house grew quiet, Max and Leo slept peacefully in their corner. Max remained slightly alert, ears twitching at small noises, while Leo relaxed fully, knowing that his protector was close. Clara watched them, feeling grateful that she could provide a safe home for these brave little puppies. Weeks later, Officer Daniel visited Clara's home. He smiled when he saw Max and Leo running freely in the backyard. Max barked softly at him, recognizing a familiar friend, and Leo wagged his tail happily. Daniel laughed. You two have grown so much. I am proud of you, Max. You have kept Leo safe and happy. Clara thanked Daniel for everything he had done. Max and Leo owe a lot to you in the shelter. You saved them and gave them a chance to find each other in a home. Daniel knelt down and played with the puppies for a while. Max nudged Leo toward him, encouraging his sibling to join the fun. Leo rolled on the grass, barking happily. Daniel could see how much their bond had grown. They were not just siblings, they were partners, friends, and heroes in their own way. As the sun set that evening, Max and Leo curled up together in their new bed. Max rested his head on Leo's back, while Leo pressed close, feeling warmth, safety, and love. Clara turned off the lights, leaving the two puppies in peace. In the quiet of the night, Max dreamed of the adventures he had faced with Leo, the challenges they had overcome, and the dangers they had survived. Leo dreamed of Max guiding him through the world, keeping him safe, and teaching him how to be brave. Together, Max and Leo had found more than a home. They had found each other, a bond that could never be broken, and a life filled with love, safety, and happiness. They had survived the rain, the fear, and the unknown, and now they had a place where they could grow, play, and explore without worry. The story of Max and Leo became a favorite among Clara's friends and the local community. Everyone admired the puppies' loyalty, courage, and love for each other. Max had shown that even in the smallest creatures, bravery could shine. Leo had shown that trust and faith in loved ones could overcome fear. Max and Leo's journey had come full circle. From the rainy streets of Maplewood to the warmth of a loving home, the two puppies had faced every challenge together. Their bond had been tested by danger and uncertainty, but it had only grown stronger. Now, they were finally safe, happy, and free to enjoy life as siblings who would never be separated. As the night grew deeper, Max and Leo slept soundly, dreaming of all the adventures still waiting for them in their new home. They were a team, a family, and a story of love and bravery that would never be forgotten.